Good evening. Welcome to the latest edition of Storm Report Live. We are presented by the Pharmacy Inc. in Bennington and Manchester, JC Tractor, and Bennington Rescue Squad. I'm Chris Everly, your host, the general manager of the Southern Vermont Storm. Tonight we have a couple guests with us. First one being Joe Retos, offensive lineman, and Aaron Sweet, who is also offensive lineman. Sometimes they moonlight as defensive players as well, but don't want to shortchange them. So, first of all, guys, thanks for spending some time with us tonight.
No, thank you.
Yes, sir,
Absolutely.
no
So
glad to be
great. Yeah, no, it's we've been off a few weeks, so I'm kind of excited to get back at it, especially having the opportunity to check in with you guys. Having you back on the team is pretty important, for the team in general. So I'm very excited to have you guys here. So I'm going to kick it right off with Joe, man. Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in North Troy, also called Lansingburg, New York.
Yep. Now, what age did you begin, or what age did you start playing football?
I started at Mighty Mites, so 7. So it's been about 23 years.
7.
Yeah.
Yep. No, you beat me a little bit. I think I started when I was 10. So you definitely sooner or younger the better when it comes to that for sure.
Yeah.
Where did the interest of the football come from you? Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, you're good.
No, I was just going to say, that's all right. Where did the interest for you to play football come from?
Oh, I came from a big football family, New York Giants fans to be exact. And so it was just like embedded in our blood at a young age, football. And I mean, when I was as far as I could walk, I just wanted to play football.
Mm-hmm. Now, I do have to ask you, maybe it's maybe not an obvious question, but now you said you came from a Giants family. I see you got a Eagle sweatshirt on. Explain how did we get to the Eagles?
Man, black sheep of the family. I had a rough, not necessarily a rough childhood, but me and my mother didn't get along when I was younger, and she was the biggest fan of them all. And I remember one game, I was 6 years old, and Giants are playing the Eagles, and my mom's like, "Are you gonna root for the Giants?" I was like, "Who are they playing?" She told me the Eagles, so it was fly Eagles fly from there, baby. She's gonna see this. She's gonna see
There's
this.
There's always a story, man. No question about it. Yeah, I'll keep an eye on the comments and see if she's coming after you or not. Where'd you end up playing high school ball? No, of course. Yeah. Where'd you end up playing high school ball?
Lansingburg.
That's where. Yep. Now, after you had gone through the high school process and you graduated high school and so on, where did you end up playing next?
I did play I played through half a year at Cortland. The time I was going through some school issues that I wanted to take care of. That was more of a priority for me than playing the sport at the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what's funny is like you aren't alone, and there's like a ton of guys, especially over the last couple of years, that have kind of gone through almost a very similar path. It's really hard to go to college. It's really hard to try to. It's just different. It's not. I don't know. It's almost like you're. I don't know. It's hard to explain unless you've been through it. You can't really.
Yeah, it's definitely a different atmosphere than like high school. Where high school, you go to practice. It's not really form set for what a practice is. It could change from day to day, but going to the college and having more responsibility as an adult on top of managing schoolwork, and then college ball is like a full-time job. It's scheduled all day, every day. It's you eat, breathe. So at first it was exciting, but it was so exciting that it took me away from the schoolwork, which made my life a little more difficult. So I decided to take a little break from it and focus on school and my education.
Now, what were you going to school for, if you don't mind me asking? Like, what was the goal?
Criminal justice. I wanted to get into law enforcement. That was my ultimate goal.
Yep. Yeah, no, that's great. I know you and I have kind of talked about that at least somewhat recently. That hopefully your career path will ultimately lead you to that. So that's exciting.
Absolutely.
So 2020 was the first year for you on the team. How'd you end up being on the Storm? How did that all kind of come together?
Well, COVID played a big part in it. A lot of teams around the area. The team I was originally playing for, the Tri-City Spartans, and the EFL, they had the fold. So I had a few buddies, Mark Burgos and Jeremy Hatter had joined the team, and they both hit me up like instantly. Was like, hey man, come play for us. We've got a good squad up here. And I was set. Me and you had talk, and we had a good conversation, and I just knew it was gonna be a good fit.
Now, have you always played offensive line, or you kind of done a little bit of everything?
No, I mean through Pee Wee to high school, I played D end and tight end. So O-line was a recent thing, as you get older, and you get comfortable and you gain a little bit of weight, but it's I took a lot of the fundamentals from playing tight end, the blocking aspects. And I've had friends my whole life that were always offensive linemen. I've always been around a group of offensive linemen, so you kind of adapt to your situation. So
sure. Now, for you personally, what does a game of football mean for you?
Man, it means everything. Honestly, I eat, breathe, sleep football. It's such an amazing sport where you get to meet amazing people, people that I would call brother over some of my own brothers. So it's a brotherhood, and it's something I love to be a part of.
No, absolutely. That's really what it's for. But I mean, for me, being, I guess, in the end, in charge of a football team, that's kind of the most important thing for me is the relationships, because you don't realize how many people you really touch in a very short period of time.
Absolutely.
And it always comes down to, you never know who knows who, and you never know who's listening. So there's always a ton of opportunity for a lot of impact to be made.
Yeah.
So, obviously we played 6 games in 2020. It's a crazy year. It didn't end obviously like we wanted it to. Was there a game that you kind of, would look back at and say, that was a pretty cool experience?
Believe it or not, it was the only game we lost against Boston. I had a lot of fun. I played against some top tier linemen, and it was just a great experience. So, I mean, we ended up with the loss, and the better team won that day, but it was a learning experience. Yep. It was a learning experience for all of us, and we moved on and won out the rest of the season.
Oh yeah, I honestly, I'll be the first to admit that I hate to lose, but it wasn't one of those losses that kind of tore the team down. You know what I mean? It was one of those losses that actually built the team up. I mean, when you look back at it, I mean, at that, coming off or before that game, I think it doesn't really matter. But ultimately, when you look at the last 3 games we did play, we put up 30 points and gave up, I think, average 3. So we really kind of came together after that. So I actually really agree with that answer. I think that's exactly right on point. Now, again, looking back on 2020, do you see that, last year as a success, or is it more of kind of leaves you wanting for more?
A little bit of both. To be honest, I see it as a success because, during a global pandemic, you had 55 guys that came together, and risked it all to play football, and you can't ask any more out of anyone, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I don't want it to sound like cliches or anything, but, we love the sport that much that we're going to go out and play it in a pandemic, where just breathing on another human being could be life or death. So, I think it was a success in that aspect. And then I see it also as, it's a revenge tour for 2021, because we were so close to winning that chip. It was going to be a repeat, a rematch against Boston in the finals.
Oh, absolutely. Yep.
And, that's where we could have redeemed ourselves. And I know a lot of us returning feel the same way. Like, we want to race that trophy this year.
No, I feel the same, man. Like you're so right. Like last year was so weird. Like the amount of commitment that I saw out of the team in general was amazing. I don't know that I mean, the last time that I saw that level of commitment was back in 2017, and we won the championship that year. Last year was the closest I've seen since then, as far as a group of guys that are committed. Because let's not forget, we're supposed to play in July. We didn't play until September.
Yep. So,
there's a lot of patience that came with it. I know at the end of the day, the guys that were here didn't really have any choice, but they could have said, you know what, I'm not going to play, or, I'll start coming around when the games are actually on the schedule. So yeah, I mean, I got a lot of respect for any of the guys that did this year, and I equally I also respect the guys that declined to play last year. We had coaches and volunteers, and they had tough decisions to make too. But you know what? They got to do what's right for them, and
absolutely.
And I'm very proud of what we accomplished last year. Certainly, certainly we're reaching for a better conclusion, but the other way to look at it is how often do you end a season by not losing a game and you don't win a championship? So that by definition alone pretty much just kind of tells you how 2020 was in general.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah.
So for your new teammates, what should they expect out of you?
They should expect hard work, motivation, me getting on top of you and pushing, so we're all a tight knit group, and we can all say that we can raise this trophy at the end of the year. That's the ultimate goal is bring a chip to Southern Vermont.
Yep. No, definitely. I think both you guys in particular. I mean, in my opinion, there's a pretty long list of leaders on this team this year. I think there's going to be for me, when you look at it as far as leadership, you need to have like leadership on every level, like meaning like you have a leader or leaders on the offensive line. You have a leader or leaders on the defensive line. Then you need to have like a leader, say, as a linebacking crew. And then you got to have a set of, leader that goes to your secondary, and we have all those.
Yeah.
So I think this year, not to say we didn't have it last year, but I think the level of focus might be a little bit better this year, mostly because there were so many distractions last year. And it took so much time just to get on the field. So I think our focus will be much better than what it was last year, just because there is a much clearer path of what it should be.
And everyone's hungry from last year too. The returning guys. The new players are going to see it out of these returning guys. We're not. You could tell we're not playing around. We were robbed last year of that chip, and we won it.
Oh, absolutely. So I mean, another question for you that I'll ask both of you, when you look at it as far as where we've, since the end of last year to now, we've made some changes and investments, whatever you want to call them. What are you most looking forward to as far as what we've been able to do since the end of last year?
Are you talking like equipment wise and stuff, like the new camera system you got?
Anything. Yeah. Anything. Yeah. Anything
because no, it's all right. I'm actually very excited for the new cameras and stuff that, we can use at practice, so we can tweak everything and, and get tighter, and that's going to be an important thing. But I'm also excited for playing home games, driving the King isn't too bad, but, knowing that I can drive 30 minutes to a home game and not, 3 hours to a home game is pretty nice.
No, that is a huge plus. And again, that also speaks to both of you guys and all the other 40 or 53 other guys that were on the team last year. You stuck with it. There was no home. This year we actually have it, and I couldn't be more excited. So that is something I certainly do agree with. So, so second to last question, what makes the Storm home for you?
I love the coaching. I love the players. I love all you guys do behind the scenes that people don't see. Even setting stuff up like this is, other semi-pro teams around here don't have it. You have to go down south or Southern New York and in New York City to get anything remotely close to the experience that you'll get, not just on the field, but like off the field. And you guys, whether it's practice, whether it's team prep, anything, the other coaches, you guys are, there every day, and you work normal jobs like the rest of us. So, for you guys to work 10, 12-hour days, come and deal with a bunch of grown men pretty much wrestling each other on a dirt field, carrying a ball, it speaks volumes. So,
no, I appreciate that. So last question, I kind of sort of already asked this question, but I guess it's another way of asking it. As we move towards 2021, what are you most excited for?
Oh, carrying that chip, man. Lifting that chip up with the rest of these 54 Pete guys and just, being happy, knowing that the revenge tour came back and we're going to get it. We're going to get it.
Yep. Amen. All right, man. Well, thank you for taking the time. Feel free to hang out. I'm going to hop over to Aaron here. I'm going to compliment on Aaron's hat first and say nice hat. All right. that didn't go unnoticed. There it is. Absolutely. So, hey, man, thanks for joining us. I know it's been, a crazy world out there. So any chance we get to, speak with you guys. And I mean, again, the whole reason for these videos have always, it kind of started last year when it came to not really being able to be with each other all that often. So, these videos ultimately are designed to kind of get a chance for, the people to know each other, and obviously some players to know each other didn't know each other previously. So I'm excited to have you on here because I know you came on a little bit late last year. So we're glad that you did, and we're certainly very happy that you're back. But right out of the gate, where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Berlin, New York, small town, about 20, 30 minutes up, say south of Bennington.
Yep. Rensselaer County, baby.
Yep. Yes, sir.
Yep. For you, where did the love of the game come from?
Honestly, it came from just discovering it just by chance. I grew up. Well, it came from the guys I was around. Just friends of mine loved the game, brought me into it.
Mm-hmm. Now, what age did you begin playing football?
Say that again.
What age did you begin playing football?
Real football, I didn't start till I was about 20. Just never had a chance growing up. Moved out towards Troy, met some people playing in some of the flag leagues. Made some friends in the playing semi, and just kind of got drawn in.
Now, you went to Berlin High School then?
I did. Yep.
Now, did they offer football?
No. They never did.
Yep.
It was a soccer school.
Yeah. Now, for you, obviously you couldn't you couldn't play at, JV or varsity football, but being that your school didn't have it, did you really feel like you're ever going to play football, or is it something that you're hoping to do, or was ever really truly a goal?
It was always like a pipe dream, I loved football in school. I'd watch football every Super Bowl. We'd get together and go play out in the snow before the game. But not going to school, it just wasn't an option. And by the time I hit college, I didn't know anything about the game. I'm not going to hop on a field.
Right.
So it just really wasn't ever an option. It wasn't a thing I'd ever thought would happen. It was like one of those, I wish I'd been able to do it. And then I just got lucky enough to meet the right people.
Yep. No, absolutely. I mean, it's I think in some ways, like, at least, as a semi-professional level, being that you haven't had a lot of experience, I don't think that's a bad thing. I think it's a great thing in a sense that you can be, I guess you could say coach and ultimately coachable, I guess is the best way of saying it.
Yeah, no, that's the perfect way of saying it, honestly.
Yep.
I came in knowing nothing, so anyone who was teaching, I was learning. Like you said, it's just it makes it really easy to be coachable.
No, you have an open mind too, which is, probably the first step to anything. Yep. For you, what has football meant in your life?
Man, I tell you, football, it's family, man. Like, just, you got the guys, the coaches. It really is. It's just family to me. Football's brought me out of some dark places. It's just, it's a way of life at this point. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. No, I do. I know exactly what you're saying. A lot of it, again, not to keep going into last year, but there was always an internal debate. Like, what do we do? Do we, it really came down to your guys' commitment. But for me personally, what it came down to is, do I really not want football in my life this year?
Yeah.
And luckily, I understand that, some decisions were made by other teams not to play, and I respect them. But I'm also understand that you guys, the reason for our success last year as far as health is because of what you guys did and what the league did as far as how they handled the protocol. So, but yeah, I guess, yeah, I'm with you. I just can't imagine football not being a part of it. And it was a hard decision to make last year. And I think we did it for, guys like you that just want to play. And we committed to it and we got it done.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, what was it? 2019 was my first year of semi-pro football. I started out, hopped on the Spartans with Joe and Mark Retos. And yeah, it really was. It from the first day, it was just a way of life. And then for pandemic to happen and just, yeah, like you said, no football. What are we going to do? Like it's, just a huge part of your life gone indefinitely. So yeah, the storm really saved it for a lot of people. The league really,
yeah, the league. I mean, the league. The league ultimately had to, decide if they wanted to do it, and in a lot of ways, like, I got to give them a lot of credit too, because it was never, what are you guys going to do? It's what do you guys want to do? I think that was pretty important, because if I think truly if they had 4 teams, they probably would have done it. But they obviously respected anything that you wanted to do, and we were pretty. I mean, being that we're in Vermont, kind of allowed us to have a little bit more leeway than say if we're in Boston. But I give the Bandits a lot of credit too. They figured out a way. So it was a roller coaster to say the least. But I think at the end of the day, we did the right things, and we were very. Let's face it, we're lucky too.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You need some degree of luck. You need some degree of luck to get through it, and our luck kind of ran out towards the end. Not health wise, but as far as changes, but it was coming probably, and that's how you have to look at it, unfortunately. I mean, it's probably a blessing in disguise. It certainly didn't feel that way at the time, but at the end of the day, you take a couple weeks and you're like, you know what? We got through the year, played 6 games, everybody's healthy. What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Yeah,
no, definitely. It definitely. Go ahead.
Nope. No, I was just gonna say, again, the kind of wrap up 2020. It was the first year with you being on a team. Overall, how do you think it went for you?
Great. I mean, I loved it from the first day. Like you said, I came late, and by late, I think it was 2 weeks before the first preseason game.
I think so. Yeah.
And like I said, from the first day, like it just clicked. It was just a great season. Great. I realized quick it was a great place to be. Obviously, like anybody else coming from a different team, you have your ambitions, but it didn't take long at all to see that it was just a great place to be.
No, I appreciate that. We we try to be different by design. We're not perfect by any stretch, but and I've probably said this before, I'm gonna say it again, but we've really taken the approach of the category or level or whatever you want to call it of semi-pro sometimes doesn't get the best rap. And what we're trying to do is we're looking at it, and we just started like in 2018, I think. It's very simple, but it was like, okay, we're semi-pro. No, we're not. We want to be semi-professional. There's a difference there, even though it's not different, but as far as how we want to do things, it is different. And we're just trying to do that. And we're not there yet, but everything that we do, we try to take that next step. And, like Joe had mentioned about the camera system, that's kind of one of those things is pro teams film practices. If we had it last year, it would have made our lives a hell of a lot easier on a lot of different levels, because we had so many practices, and we didn't even have a preseason game last year. So we just kind of said, well, here we go. Let's see who can play. We really truly didn't know.
No, so yeah, definitely.
So that's a big deal, and I think that's going to be good for the team, because at the end of the day, you're gonna the kind of pull the curtain back here a little bit is as a general manager or a coach or whatever, you have to look at your 55-man roster and say, okay, how many receivers do we want to keep? That's hard to do when you don't. It's all opinion when you don't have practice film. Once you have practice film of 2 months worth of practice film, you can honestly, in good faith, put together a depth chart, and you could say, okay, we're going to just purely as an example, we haven't decided anything, of course. Say we decided we wanted to have 8 receivers. The roster is going to be comprised of 8 receivers. So if you're not, in the top 8, we have a couple options. It's either, maybe, is it an attendance thing? Is it an ability thing? Is it a position thing? We can have that conversation ahead of time. Be like, hey, you're number 9. So either you can, I don't want to say get better, or you could try playing corner. Like, it's just there's stuff like that it just allows us to be more upfront and have data to support it. That's the important thing.
Definitely. It's always best man in the spot. And like you said, there's always other options. I actually started out. I came on the team thinking I was going to be a nose tackle, or defensive tackle. Sorry. And I got taken aside and said, "Hey, you're 6'5" and 300 some odd pounds. Maybe you'd be better off somewhere else." And they took me on the line, and I loved it.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's the key to all of it too. It's just understanding that you, at the end of the day, there's 3 things that you're there for. At least I think. So have fun, play, and have fun, or win football games.
Yeah.
If that means you have to do a 180-degree turn to go play on the other side of the ball, you're playing well, and we're winning.
Yes,
what more can you ask for? And we just need more guys to kind of do that. And both you guys, and I would say just about everybody on the team, feels the same way. But every once in a while, you got to have those tough conversations. But so
I mean, it happens.
Yeah. Yep. So for the new guys on the team, what should they expect out of Aaron?
Just I'm gonna work my hardest. I'm gonna expect you to do the same.
Yep.
Like I said, I'm all about the guys. If you're on my team, you're my brother, your family. Gonna push you to work. I'm gonna expect you to do the same for me. Just give it a shot, man. Amen. That's kind of that's pretty much that would be my answer if I asked that. It's just put in the work, and I think I once said we work, we win, and that's the truth. If we work, then we should win. If we don't do it the right way, then we got nobody to blame but ourselves. And I think that's something that we're going to avoid this year. We've avoided it for the last several years, but it's important to always keep that in mind. It's always
Yep. So, what are your hopes for this year?
Like Joe said, that shit, man. We were chasing it last year. Probably would have had it. Just the team we came together as in such a short amount of time, and I'm just really hoping to get back to that.
Yep, absolutely. So, last question. Kind of sort of already probably answered this question, but I'm going to ask it again, but in a different way. As we move towards the 2020 season, what are you most excited for?
Just getting back to it, man. Just football, the team, just having that back.
Yeah. Amen, dude. I don't know. There's really there isn't much more you can say. And for me, knowing where we're headed, knowing that we have a place to play, that's home. I don't know. It's just there's a certain level of comfort that we didn't have last year. There's a lot of even Keene, they didn't have to say yes.
Nope.
I'm not really sure why they did, but they did. But but then again, the rules were different in New Hampshire than they were in Vermont. But yeah, man, I'm with you. It's just a opportunity to get back to normal. That means, there's going to be some things we have to do. There's some things we have to change. There's some certain protocols that we got to get used to, but at the end of the day, we're so much better off than we were a year ago. So,
definitely.
But yeah, man. So I want to thank you for coming on, and
thanks for having me.
We'll certainly catch up soon.
Yeah, most definitely. Can't wait.
Thanks, Aaron. See ya.